A few months ago, the team here at Calvary Community Church in Minnesota reached out because they had some outdated audio, video, and lighting systems that needed quite the overhaul. They were previously using this Yamaha M7 CL console. 20 years ago, this was a groundbreaking technology, but it was starting to show its age and the components of this console were failing for them. Their lighting system was being controlled by an older theatrical lighting console. While it's powerful for a theatrical environment and a professional lighting designer, it was not ideal or user-friendly for the team of volunteers who are designing and operating lights on a regular basis. And finally, while some of their video infrastructure was newer because of upgrades they had made previously during the COVID pandemic, they needed to upgrade the projection screens. Before, they had some rear-mounted screens that were dim, hard to read text, hard to see vibrant imagery because those projectors were just getting outdated. So that was also a very pressing need at this church. So our team had a blast diving into this project, and I'm excited to unpack for you the new systems we implemented here for Calvary Community in this video. After our pre-design and programming conversations with the clients where we clarify the scope and the budget of their project, our design engineers get to work. It's really crucial with a tech upgrade project like this one to make sure you have accurate documentation and a plan for which gear are we going to retain with the new upgrades and tie into them, and which gear just needs to be decommissioned. And we document all of this process in the system design and engineering that our team members draw out prior to assembly and installation. So here in front of me, you can see the schematic for the new audio system that we implemented for them. We decommissioned the old console and the old stage box, and we replaced that with the Yamaha DM7 that we have right here. That's the heart of their mixing system. This provides the mix for their front of house as well as the mix for their online broadcast. We upgraded the inputs and outputs to the Yamaha Rio 32 by 24. It gives them plenty of analog inputs and preamps and analog outputs for their stage monitoring needs here at the church. Prior to this upgrade, they were also using some old wireless microphones. I think they were by line 6, and you have some antennas here, but they had major wireless microphone headaches. So we decommissioned that system and we installed some new Shure microphones for them, specifically the SLX D4Qs. So they've got 3 of those units, which gives them up to 12 channels of wireless mics for the new handheld mics, and you'll see the body packs that are over here. We also added some wireless in-ear monitors to their system. They didn't have in-ear monitors prior to this upgrade. They're actually using floor wedges, and you'll see the amps for those wedges backstage. They can still use those, but we helped their team transition to using just floor wedges to now the worship band is all on in-ear monitoring, and it dramatically increased the quality of their front of house mix because you no longer have all that additional stage volume coming from those floor wedges. I personally have not spent a lot of time mixing on the DM7, but we have installed a few of these this year for clients who were coming from the Yamaha world. They really like mixing on Yamaha, and I have to say I'm completely impressed with the DM7, its power, its capability. You can even tell when you're interacting with the faders and the knobs on this console. The hardware is very, very premium. The touchscreens feel great when you're interacting with them, and you can just feel like this is definitely at another level of quality. This console can have up to 120 input channels. It also has 48 mixes, so plenty of mixes for them to set up their new in-ear monitoring system, and they're just creating those mixes on the console here. We'll show you how we're sending those mixes to the musicians on stage over Dante to some really cool headphone amps. This is Yamaha's pro level yet still compact mixing console. It's not as big as the Ravage series of consoles, but if you're coming from the older CLs or QL line of consoles from Yamaha or the M7 CL that they had here, this is a great option to consider among other great manufacturers out there as well. But if you want to stick with a Yamaha line, this is an incredible mixing console. I really like, as I had some time to poke around the user interface of it today, just some of the logic they put behind how to navigate your different inputs and outputs with the fader banks here. Let's say when you want to select a channel and then you're navigating, you're processing for dynamics and EQ. It is very intuitive for being such a powerful console. If you're already familiar with mixing and processing and those types of concepts of audio engineering, it's going to take you maybe an hour or two to kind of just get the lay of the land navigating this very powerful machine. This console also has 144 ins and outs of Dante running at 96 kilohertz. So that's just a ton of high fidelity audio bandwidth and routing flexibility that can come in and out of this console. I can go to my patch page here, and then this is where I can view all of the patching for all of my inputs, all of my outputs on this console. I can also toggle to the grid view for something that looks a little bit more like Dante controller right here. I will also mention, if you're going to get the Yamaha consoles running Dante to all your stage boxes, you're going to have the best results if you go with the Yamaha line of network switches. And I think that has to do with not only the Dante audio going over the network from the preamps to the console or vice versa, but also having that preamp control. We've gotten the best results by just using the Yamaha switches for the best connectivity and compatibility between console and the Rio stage boxes that you'll see backstage. Welcome to their backstage audio world. So over here you had their existing amplifiers and the DSP for their PA system. And again, our team spends a lot of time diving into the weeds during the engineering process to make sure that everything's going to get tied in seamlessly with the existing gear. All these amps and the DSP were working great. And there's no reason to have to upgrade these right now. Someday in the future, they could, and it's going to be pretty simple to tie in a new PA system to their newer mixing system. But yeah, whoever did this integration a while back did a pretty great job with all these amps. It makes me appreciate a lot of the newer amps we're putting in these days that are just a bit more efficient on space and stuff, and how much power you can get in a lot less rack unit space. And then if you move down here, you'll actually see they've got some tie lines for their floor wedges that go to the stage. So we're able to integrate their new Yamaha system with these floor wedges so that they can keep using them. Here at this church, they have a lot of other events and other types of theatrical or performances that load in or do concerts here. So it's really important to just have that professional flexibility for whatever musician or whatever theater event is happening in this space. Over here is their new audio rack that we installed. So at the top of the rack, we've got network, patch bay, and infrastructure for both the Unify network for control, and then underneath that, we have the Yamaha Dante switch. As I mentioned earlier, really crucial to use these Yamaha switches to get the best performance, in our opinion, with the Yamaha stage boxes and the consoles. And you can easily integrate other devices that need to be on Dante, like computers for virtual sound card, or the headphone amps that we'll show you on the stage, into the same Dante network. Below that, we've got their 12 channels of wireless microphones, and then we got 4 channels of stereo in-ear monitors, and then we also have RF venue combiners and distros, and the antennas on stage just to make sure the RF frequencies are nice and clear and strong to and from these units here in the rack. What's nice about the SLX series from Shure is that they are connected to the Dante network here through our patch bay for one nice clean network connection for all that audio. The PSM 300s, those do have tie lines though to get to the outputs that are down here coming out of the Rio. So down here we have the Rio stage box that has incredible high quality preamps and inputs and outputs on it to get the analog audio connections to and from the stage. And then underneath the Rio, we have a bunch of XLR patch cables to these SoundTools cat drops that actually get audio from the equipment rack to the stage. And the way the cat drops work is it just uses Cat 6 shielded cable, and it uses the conductor wires inside of a Cat 6 cable to actually pass audio for 1, 2, 3, 4 audio lines with one Cat cable. The reason we went with the cat drops in this space was to just give them a bit more flexibility with their I/O on stage. They weren't able to do the construction project to add in like permanent recessed floor pockets. And plus, because they have so many different events going on here, they just wanted the flexibility to be able to take a network cable, connect it to the cat drop at the rack on stage that you'll see, and then put their ins and outs wherever they need to be at whatever quantity they need to be for the different events they do. And down below that, we've got the VX400 for the LED screens that they upgraded to. So here's a cool solution we implemented for their stage inputs and outputs. I already mentioned this earlier. We're using these cat drops by SoundTools to get the connections from the inputs on the stage to their stage box back there. So out of an access panel from the backstage room, we have a collection of cables coming out, those cat cables that land here at this patch bay. So we've actually got this little patch bay here, audio patch bay 101 on my diagram, where we've got cat drops 1 through 9. So they now have 9 different connections where they can plug one of these cat drops in, where you have 4 inputs, and they can place them anywhere on stage to have 4 inputs over a simple cat cable. So lots of flexibility there. And then we have this custom plate built for our Dante patching as well. And we're using the RedNet AM2s for hardline in-ear monitoring. So this is in-ear monitoring where we can send the audio to these musicians, stereo audio feed over the Dante network. So out of the Yamaha DM7, the drummer will have his own mix on the console, and he can control that from the monitoring app that goes with the DM7. And then that audio is sent out of the DM7 over Dante, over the network to this headphone amp here, where he can control his volume. And these are high quality headphone amps, so the fidelity of the mix that they're able to hear is fantastic. And we also added these NL4 connectors for the speaker cable that can go to their floor monitors on stage. So if they want to add a floor wedge somewhere, they can just get some speaker cable, plug it in right here to the right mix, plug it in to the speaker on stage, and they're ready to go, and they can start mixing for their floor monitors from the DM7. The LED screens we installed here are the Altitude Cloud panels, and each side screen is about 8 feet wide and 5 feet tall. So we were able to have some contractors prep the walls behind the screens prior to installation week. They did a great job refinishing the drywall. And then these cloud panels were able to be installed in about a day. It was a very simple process, especially because the framers already put some plywood backing into the drywall for the team, and the Altitude technicians were able to secure the cabinets, put the modules up, and get everything programmed and integrated. Coming back to front of house, we did a few other crucial things aside from the audio. The first was swapping out that old lighting console for LightKey control. We are a huge fan of the user interface of LightKey because it is intuitive for someone to sit here and within about 5 minutes understand how to trigger the various lighting cues throughout the service by clicking the buttons or adjusting some faders. But you can get really advanced into the design of LightKey and setting up presets and effects for those more advanced lighting designs that you need. We also installed another equipment rack here up front of house, and we have a few things housed in this equipment rack. We've got the network patch bay with another network switch for unifying, controlling everything. We've got another Dante switch for Dante to be on its own network alongside of all the Yamaha gear. Again, we've used Dante with Unify with great success in the past, except for when we're trying to integrate a Yamaha console specifically with its stage box. That's where we have experienced losing the preamp control, even though audio is passing. That's where we've had some issues. So it's just better, more robust to have a dedicated Dante local area network separate from the Unify network. We also installed an Obsidian EN4 lighting node here to upgrade how the DMX data gets sent from their lighting control, which is now LightKey, to their DMX distro, which gets sent to all of their lights in their space. And underneath that, we have some KVMs, which keep the workspace really nice and clean here in their front of house workstations. And then they had a hearing assist that we tied into the system. And then under that, we have a Rack Mac Mini, which houses 3 computers, which you can see here on the 3 workstations for audio, video, and lighting. And we're using the Sonnet Echo 3 expansion chassis with the PCIe cards for our DeckLink Duo and the video outputs. So you can see here we have a nice clean workstation with ProPresenter on it for running graphics to the new Altitude LED screens. Over here, this is their existing video system that I think they upgraded a few years ago, again, probably during COVID when they were transitioning into more serious live streaming. They've got some Panasonic PTZ cameras and the control surface for their 8K ATEM constellation that they've got set up here. They've got a smart video hub, some scopes, and some preview monitors. So they have a pretty powerful video broadcast system here at front of house. Our team, though, did quite a bit of cleanup and integration for them to really just make sure all the clutter was removed and really examine all the video connections and network connections happening here. Again, this is something that we cover when we are upgrading a portion of an AV system. You want to make sure that everything that the new system touches is also professionally integrated and going to be a reliable solution. So we do all that due diligence during the engineering phase where we can get that all drawn out in our schematics. Well, that concludes this walkthrough of all the upgrades we made here at Calvary Community Church. A huge thank you to their team for entrusting this project to Churchfront. It was a blast to help them get this infrastructure upgraded and to provide some innovative solutions for thriving ministry here at this church. If you'd like to learn more about the latest AV solutions for your church, and if you would like our team's help partnering with you on that next project, don't hesitate to reach out to us at churchfront.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.